In today's world, the name Honda instantly reminds us of innovation, reliability, and success. But rewind a century, and Honda was nothing more than the surname of a boy no one had heard of. That boy was Soichiro Honda. Born in 1906 in the small Japanese village of Tenryu, Soichiro grew up in a humble household. His father worked as a blacksmith and often repaired bicycles, while his mother was a talented weaver. The family faced constant hardships, losing 5 of Soichiro's siblings to illness during childhood. Despite these struggles, Soichiro was different, restless, curious, and fascinated by machines. At just 8 years old, his life changed forever when he saw his very first car, a Ford Model T, rolling down the dusty road. He was so mesmerized that he chased it, his heart pounding with excitement. That moment sparked a fire within him, an unstoppable passion for mechanics that would one day reshape the world. Soichiro was never a fan of school. While his classmates memorized lessons, he spent his days helping his father in the workshop, fascinated by gears, chains, and tools. His grades were poor, and to hide his failures, he once stamped fake seals on his report cards. But when his father discovered the trick, the punishment was harsh, kneeling the whole day without food. Yet, that rebellious spirit never faded. At 15 years old, Soichiro saw an advertisement for a prestigious automotive workshop in Tokyo called Art Shokai. Without hesitation, he dropped out of school, packed his dreams, and left for the bustling capital. When he arrived, the city overwhelmed him. Cars on the streets, electric lights, machines everywhere. But instead of repairing vehicles, his first job was to babysit the owner's child. It was disappointing, but Soichiro refused to give up. Deep inside, he knew he hadn't traveled this far to be just a caretaker. At first, Soichiro felt crushed. He had dreamed of working with engines, yet his daily routine in Tokyo was carrying a baby on his back and running errands. But returning home in shame was not an option. So he stayed, waiting for his chance. That moment came when the workshop grew busy with more cars than the owner could handle. Finally, Soichiro was asked to help with repairs. He threw himself into the work, sweeping floors, polishing tools, fixing bikes, and eventually touching car engines. His determination and skill quickly caught everyone's attention. Soon, he wasn't just another helper. He became a trusted mechanic in training, learning not only about vehicles, but also about the business side of running a shop. At Art Shokai, he worked on imported cars, Lincolns, Mercedes, even Daimlers, and for the first time motorcycles. With every repair, his passion grew stronger. He wasn't just fixing machines, he was beginning to understand them deeply. By the early 1920s, racing fever had reached Japan. Cars and motorcycles thundered on tracks, and young Soichiro was fascinated. At just 17 years old, he joined his workshop team in building racing cars. One of their creations, the Curtiss, used the engine of an American airplane mounted on a car chassis. When it won first place in a Japanese championship, Soichiro stood proudly as the engineer by its side. That victory ignited something powerful in him. Motorsport wasn't just exciting, it was a way to push machines beyond limits. But life threw him challenges. In 1926, he was called for military service, only to be rejected after failing the medical exam. He was colorblind. Freed from duty, he returned to his true love, engineering. By his early 20s, he was entrusted to run a new branch of Art Shokai in Hamamatsu. Though customers doubted a young mechanic, Soichiro pushed forward. He wasn't chasing money, he was chasing mastery. Running the Hamamatsu branch was no easy task. At first, people hesitated to trust their cars to a 21-year-old. Business was slow, and Soichiro often took the jobs other workshops rejected. But his persistence paid off. One repair at a time, his reputation grew. Soon, his workshop expanded into a thriving team of 30 mechanics. Yet, Soichiro's heart still raced for speed. He built his own racing car and, in the mid-1930s, set a Japanese speed record of 120 kilometers per hour, a record that stood for 2 decades. But the thrill came with danger. In 1936, during a race near Tokyo, Soichiro suffered a horrific crash that left him with broken bones and scars. Months later, he returned to the track, but his family pleaded with him to quit. Reluctantly, he agreed. Racing had nearly taken his life, but it also sharpened his skills, preparing him for something far bigger than he could imagine. After leaving racing behind, Soichiro's ambitions grew. Repairing cars was no longer enough. He wanted to create. In 1937, he founded a company to make piston rings, supplying Toyota. But success didn't come easily. His early designs failed, and Toyota rejected most of his work. Instead of giving up, he studied metallurgy, learned from experts, and improved his craft. Eventually, his piston rings met Toyota's standards, and orders poured in. Then came disaster. World War II destroyed his factories, and an earthquake finished what the bombs hadn't. Stripped of everything, Soichiro sold what was left and stepped back to rethink his future. Out of the ruins came his greatest idea, motorized bicycles. In 1948, he officially founded Honda Motor Company. From a small team in a dusty workshop, he built motorcycles that conquered Japan, then the world. The boy who once chased a Ford Model T had become the man who created a global empire, Honda.